Hello, welcome to this webinar. This is one of our normal GlobalNet 21 webinars where we look at some of the issues that face us in our present day. And today we're looking at the problem of rehabilitation, the problem of how young people can rehabilitate into society and find jobs and a way of life that will keep them out of crime. And in this webinar, we're speaking to Cecil Chipendo, who is the founder and director of Accelerate, which is a professional network of chief executives and executives who have come together to help solve the problem of young people in rehabilitation. So we'll go over to Cecil now, and he'll give his presentation. And then Fong Skovgaard will actually lead the facilitation of this, ask the questions that result from his presentation and the questions that come from the audience. So please remember to add your questions and your comments as Cecil speaks. Anyhow, Cecil, thanks for joining us, and over to you.
So my name is Cecil Chipendo from Gateway Recruitment. We run an initiative called Accelerate, which helps support people who have barriers to employment. And basically, barriers to employment can include ex-offenders, mental health issues. They might have other life-controlling issues in their life, like drug or alcohol addiction. So what we do is we go in front of employers and say, we present our candidates who we will have worked with within the prison system or wherever they are in the stage of their life or rehabilitation. We get with them and we put them on a program of trying to get them work ready. Once they're work ready, we then take them in front of employers, do CVs, and they get invited to interviews. And hopefully we can get them into work, and not just get them into work, but also get them to stay in work. So one of the things that we're really good at is once they're in work, we provide them with a mentor who supports them along their journey. Because one of the things that you find is people with life controlling issues, they find it really difficult to maintain a routine, if you will. So we try and give them that support. We've just partnered with other organizations that also help in giving that support, because we understand that it is stressful for you and me. It is stressful, so for our client group, it is also stressful. So we offer some counseling services to help them along the way. Accelerate, if we started it out of having worked with the client group of ex-offenders who were coming in and out of prison. We realized that they didn't have anything purposeful to do with their time. So we decided to start the initiative, which is underpinned by Gateway Recruitment. So we call it our corporate social responsibility. That's how the initiative was birthed. And we are where we are today. We've got a good success rate, reducing reoffending by at least 9%, not because of the stuff that we do alone, but because of the partnerships that we've built and created along the way.
Do you have a PowerPoint slide to show, or do you have any examples or any videos of things that you want to show in real life?
No, we've got our initiative is in its early throes. So what we've done is we're in the process of registering it as a charity, but we started it off as an initiative, as an idea that we trial out within the recruitment agency as another side of the business itself. We have clients that we work with that have given us testimonials. We've been nominated to be part of the Centre for Social Justice think tank, where you get an award for the work that we're doing with regards to education and employment. But yeah, that's about it. We will have, if I'd known, I would have given you some letters or some testimonials that that have been provided by our participants, if you will.
Yes. Now you see two pictures, you and me. I'm just thinking about, how did you start? What made you start to help those people?
So it was a case of 5 years ago, I helped start a homeless charity. Within that homeless charity, when we were putting people into, we had a model where we put people into houses, these ex-offenders. We put them into houses. We gave them 2 rooms each. They would share a house, and they would be supported by a team of mentors from the community. And after a few months, we noticed that these people were reoffending, going back into prison, because they had nothing to do with their time. So we decided to. It was something that so evident that they've got nothing to do with their time. That's why they're reoffending. That's how Accelerate was started, because it gives them that option to work with us and be able to put them in front of employers, and either put them in education or put them in work.
So you started 5 years ago?
No, Accelerate was started in 2015.
2015.
Yes, but the homeless charity that I'm talking about, that I helped establish, was started in 2010.
Okay. So 2015, how many people have you helped to get into job and not reoffend again?
We have support. At the moment in our books, we're supporting at least 25 candidates within the Accelerate initiative. We've helped 12 into work. We are working with a few others that have come through. Now, because the profile that is out there for our initiative is that we only deal with ex-offenders, that's not the case. We have some people that come through us from drug rehabilitation, where they are rehabilitated or they've had alcohol issues, or they were homeless. Our program ideally works for people that don't have any of those issues in their lives, where they've come full circle and they've dealt with them and they're ready to start making the journey to the next step, which is to be able to be independent financially and support themselves and not depend on the state for benefits.
So am I correct saying that you have 24 people and you have 12 people into job, so like 50%?
Yes, that's
Yes.
right.
So those people, how do they find you? How do they know that you exist?
So we've raised our profile through the local prisons. We're in a prison in Peterborough. We're also in several other towns across the country. Within those establishments, there are also organizations, other agencies that we work with. So it's a multi-agency approach, if you will. They know about us. We go out there. We tell them about our services. We get invited to do talks and to launch what we're doing. They're then able to say to us, "Oh yes, we would like more information about what your initiative." We then provided. One of the things that we're doing with the young offenders in one of the prisons here in the UK is we offer a 12-week program where they get trained. Once they come in, they get identified whether or not they want to be part of this initiative. So what it does is we go in and interview them, do interview skills, prepare CVs for them, get them work ready. We even arrange employers who are interested in having these guys as part of their staff. We get them to come in to see what we're working with. They get them to see them firsthand, and then once they've done that, they're able to make a decision to say, yeah, we want to work with this person. 9 times out of 10, they make such an impact. And we have guys who were working in the prison as fitness trainers who are now gainfully employed because of that process.
Yes. So so the program is 12 weeks.
It's a 12-week program.
Yeah. And then do you have a selection criteria to select those people to get into the program?
Ideally, they have to have at least 3 months left to serve on their sentence, so they're getting ready to leave prison. That way it works, because what you don't want is training someone who still has a year, giving them false hope and say, okay, when you get out you will have a job, or interview them for a role that they may never fill. So they have to have 3 months left on their sentence. We go in, we do the assessment, but this is identified when they are at induction. So during induction, they are asked whether or not they would like to become part of a work program to get them back into work. Some of them come to us with jobs already that they're going into. But 9 times out of 10, once someone has a conviction, it's very hard to sit in front of an employer. If I'm sure many of you can testify that, can agree that if you're an employer and you've got in front of you a CV, or one is an ex-offender and one isn't, you're more than likely, logically, to go for the one who isn't an ex-offender, regardless of what the details of the offence are. So part of my remit within Accelerate is to go in front of employers and say, look, this is the person we have. This is the person we're working with. Would you be willing to give them a chance? Would you be willing to give them an opportunity? Because it's that opportunity that sets into motion the process of change within the community when they come out, and stops them from reoffending.
Okay, so it's how you try to get them a job. But if we just stick to talking about the process that you are doing. So you have the 12 weeks, and those 12 weeks, the people are still in prison, but they are allowed to come out and see you or go to work if you find job to them before they finish.
If they find work, depending on the prison where they are. So don't know if you know anything about the grading of prisons. There's category A, category B, category C, and category D. But within all of those categories, apart from A, what you have is you have what they call ROTL, release on temporary license. So these are inmates that have been in the prison system for over a year at least, and they've earned privileges. One of those privileges is release on temporary license, where they can come out, go and see their families, and come back in. This is to get them ready for the community, getting ready for release. A lot of what we do is the ones that qualify for release on temporary license, we arrange for them to go and volunteer with voluntary organizations, either in a charity shop or within any third sector organization, so that they're doing something, showing that they're keen, they can be trusted. So they get a day release. The next time they get 2 days, and it's drip fed that way. And then before long, they're allowed to have 2 weeks, and then that's monitored. But it's not just a case of saying, oh yeah, you've got 2 years left in your sentence, we're going to release you into the community, you can come back as and when you go. It's all set. If they mess that up, they go back straight to one. They know they can't mess that up, because a lot is being put at risk by releasing them on those temporary licenses.
Yes. So they go out and then they will be with you for 12 weeks. How often do they have to meet with you in these 12 weeks? What is going to happen in these 12 weeks? What you said before, they can meet with, yeah.
So the 12 weeks is within the prison, not outside.
Oh, okay.
The 12 weeks is within the prison. It's a 12-week program that addresses their offending behavior.
Yeah.
It addresses thinking skills, and then it finally addresses the whole person in terms of getting them to write about their experience and how they felt, and just addressing the offence itself, more like restorative justice. Most of them, if they want to, get to meet the victims, but at the end of it, the last 2 weeks are all about getting them work ready. So because you see, we deal with all these issues at the beginning so that it's not affecting when it comes to work. If there's any issues that need to be dealt with, if counseling needs to be arranged, it's arranged. So they get a really good deal in terms of support within the prison.
Yes.
Once they come out, so it's not everyone who finishes the 12 weeks. We've got a program that just finished where we had 28 participants within that program, and only 6 of them finished it, because what happens is some of them get transferred, some of them are released. It's some of them go home early on curfew. They go home on a tag, so they're not able to finish the whole 12 weeks. So we managed to get 6 that qualified. We make a really big deal about it. We get the prison governor involved. We do presentations and congratulate them on their efforts. We then get the potential employers to come in and show them the work that they've done, to meet the candidates, as it were. At this time, we start calling them candidates, and say, yeah, these are the candidates that we have that you can choose and pick from. A lot of them have really, really good skill sets, transferable skill sets that they can take from either their previous life into their new life.
So let me. So the 12 weeks. How many of those? So you do. You are coming in every day, or are you coming in once a week, or how does it work? The 12 weeks.
I come in once a week, but the training happens every day.
Every day. So is your team coming in giving training every day?
No, it's part of the what they call the employment ETE team, the employment and rehabilitation team within the prison. They are the ones that handle the training, and they deliver the training, make sure that they attend, and so forth.
Yes. So your partner, how do you find some partner to help to try to get those people into jobs?
You mean the employers?
Yeah.
Right. So there are people that are on a list that we call ban the box. These are employers that do not include the have you got have you ever been convicted of an offence within the application form. And most of these employers are employers that we like to get on our books. So we're building a database of people or employers that will say, look, Cecil, we will work with your client group. And this list is continuously growing. It's a network of employers who will give an opportunity to our guys or girls.
Yes. So how many people, how many programs can you have at one time?
It really depends on the capacity within the prison, because the greatness of or shall I say the beauty of the program is such that there's very little outlay on the offset, very few expense outlay. So we're able to utilize the resources of the partners that we have around us, other agencies that work with us. We're able to utilize the resources of the prisons that we work with. So we can actually virtually run. I'll give you an example. I work with an organization that you may know from called Read in Partnership. Now, Reed are also an employment agency like Gateway Recruitment. But what they also do is they have a work program that was funded by the Department of Work and Pensions, which was mandatory for anyone coming out of prison. They had to go and see them. But not just anyone coming out of prison, anyone who didn't have a job and needed to get back into work. If they didn't go and see them, they would cut their benefits. So we've got such organizations that get these people, but they don't have the contacts that we have. And what happens is they then refer them to us. We've got the drug agencies that are working with their clients who are on the verge of becoming drug-free, and they send them to us, and we start working with them. It gives them hope. It gives them an opportunity to apply for these positions.
Yes. I will come back to you, but Peter has some questions here. He said that he would like, the main thing is to make those people, to occupy those people so they don't go back to their dodgy friends.
Yes. So the reason why we provide a mentoring system is because a lot of the individuals that we help will naturally go back to their old friends, who will encourage them to go back to their old life. But if they've got something purposeful to do with their time, and they're going to college, or they're going to university, or they're going into work, then it's very hard for them to, unless if they're not focused. The people that we work with are focused people that want to make that. If they've come to a point where they don't want to do this anymore. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I know what you mean. The problem is that to come from the time, you have been in prison, where when people, like, for example, a person been in prison for a few years and start thinking about education, jobs, is quite difficult, isn't it?
It is, but a lot of them have come to a point where they've got to have, you see, we don't make the decision for them. Our program is not a mandatory program. They have to want to do this. You see, we are not going out to chase these people and say, hey, we want you on our program. No, we say to them, this is the program that we have. These are the opportunities that are laid before you. If you want to take advantage of them, go ahead and do so. We have some situations where our guys have gone in and they've come out. I've lost my train of thought. Let me just answer Peter's question. He says, my question would be, how do you help and keep prisoners from falling back into hanging out with dodgy friends? There is almost zero support for ex-prisoners provided when they leave, as far as I can see. Those are the issues we're trying to address. So we put mentors around them, people that walk alongside them. So it is another contact who isn't within their sphere of influence, old sphere of influence, someone they can contact, who is non-judgmental. They're volunteers. They're there at the other end of the phone. We put 2 or 3 people. They don't hound them. They don't do anything apart from, I'm here if should you need to call me. And we've developed some really good relationships. We train our mentors through a program called Coach. They come through that program, and we teach them how to work with the client group.
It's just because my experience, when I see some of those people, some people, they just kind of give up and don't want to do anything about themselves, about how to move forward. But it is a very good news that you are saying it. So you are helping them. So those mentors, the program that you are giving to those mentors, what kind of coaching are you giving them? And who provide the coaching training?
It's an organization called Coach.
Oh, okay.
They provide training to work with this client group. It's called Support for Ex-Offenders, Caring for Ex-Offenders. And what they do is they basically teach you on how you interact with them, because a lot of them don't have. You see, what we're trying to do is to get someone who's never dealt with that client group before, and introduce them to someone who has a life of offending. And try and broker that relationship and say, look, this is John. Some of those relationships don't work. We've tried them before, where we've introduced people together and it doesn't work, and we just have to accept that relationship didn't go anywhere. But we've got relationships that have been really, really lasting in terms of, where we've got a guy. I'll give an example. A guy who is a retired accountant, and he has befriended. We put him in touch with one of our guys who is now working, and they've been good friends for over 2 years now.
I understand that you have different people to work with, and then to help you to support, like kind of a network of people to help. But for you to work with REIT, you are like kind of competitors. So to work together is quite unique that you would work together, because I also talked to a lot of people, and then they just don't. I have talked to a lot of coaches who wanted to get into prison to do business, but they refuse to help each other. They refuse to work together. So how did you come about to work with REIT?
Well, I met Reed in the prison. We exchanged details. They explained their program to us, and we realized we were treading on the same sort of ground, and developed from there. I actually have an office dedicated for weekly. I go to Reed every 2 weeks, and it's not just Reed that I do this. We've got 2 other organizations that I go to every fortnight and have a clinic, 2-hour clinic, where I get their guys, they're people that they've referred to us. I see them, yeah.
So right now I know a person, I know a guy who had been in prison, and he came out and he did very well. He has a program, a workout program that he would like to provide. It's a service that he has. Is it something that you can help him with? It is not about your program. Now I'm trying to kind of find a relationship. If you can help someone can help you.
So that's exactly what we do. I mean, we've got guys that, what I didn't mention to you was, out of the 25 participants that have come to us, we've got an additional 15 that have started their own businesses. So I know Peter said that there's zero support for ex-offenders, but would you believe it or not, there's support out there for ex-offenders. If you're not an ex-offender, if you've never been to prison before, you're not privy to that support. You have to be an ex-offender for you to access that support. There's what we call a prison funder directory. This is a directory that funds people who want to go to university. So there's all sorts of funds in there. They can pay tuition, they can pay whatever costs. We've got individuals that have started their own businesses. So when we've not been able to find them work, I asked the guy, I said, we've hit rock bottom here. We've come to, all the doors are closed. We don't know what to do. What do we do? He said, and I said to him, what did you do in prison? What are you really good at? He said, I learned how to sew cushions. Now he's got a thriving business. He's self-employed. We got him a grant. Put him in touch with a business advisor. We got him a grant to start his own business. He bought a sewing machine, and he's now selling his cushions online. So we do support people that have a service to offer. If they come to us and say, listen, I want to be self-employed. I don't want to work for anyone else. If they choose to disclose, that's entirely up to them. That's the other thing I didn't mention. One of the things that we're really good at is helping the clients that we work with, the candidates that we work with, to be able to disclose. Because if you don't disclose on the offset that you have a conviction, it's an offence, and you could lose your job. You will lose your job when it's found out that you didn't declare or disclose. And we teach them how to do this. And part of the application process, or part of the 2 weeks I was talking about of the 12-week program, is all about disclosure.
Yes.
So yes, by all means, we're able to help if we can.
Peter has a question here or a comment here. That's great to hear about helping them to start their own business. So do you have a business mentors to help them to set up, like tax and bookkeeping and that kind of things?
Yes, we've got a team of people that, again, is part of our network. The business side of things, we use an organization called NWES. It's an enterprise service. They're a social enterprise, and that's what they solely do. They're not for profit. They've helped in the 7 years that I've known of them. They've had at least £4 million that they've given out in grants to people that have been referred to them to start their own businesses. So they help with the business plan as well. They help with referrals to accountants to make sure that you are doing what you need to be doing as a business owner. We put them in networking groups for their businesses to grow, and it's one of those things that so another form of support around the ex-offenders. Their friends see them doing really well and say, "Oh, what are you doing?" So it's a testament to them, to us, and yeah.
Yes. So tell us about your future. Now it was an initiative that you started with, and you are helping people. And I can see that you have 3 different groups of people. You have your clients is the people from prisons, and then you're the network who are helping you to support those people, and then
Yeah.
the people who are helping them to go back to job, like employers. So you work together with them. So
No,
what you want to create? Sorry.
the future for us.
Yeah.
That's a good question that was asked to me today by there is here in the UK. There's an organization called Centre for Social Justice, which is a think tank by Ian Duncan Smith. Now, basically, what they do is they get all these organizations on board that are within the third sector that are doing work within the community, and they give them different categories. And one of the questions that we were asked were, is your project scalable? So one of the things that we would like to do in the future is be able to do a manual to say, if you said to me, Cecil, I'd like to start a program that you're running in Peterborough over here in Cambridge, how do we do it? We'll just give you a manual to say, this is how you do it. So we would have people that will be able to buy into the franchise, if you will, and spread it across that way. It's the same model that we used for the homeless charity that I was involved in, and it works really well, where we were then able to scale it out to different towns, and it becomes its own entity there. For us, moving forward, we've got funding that has been promised to us, and the only stipulation is we need to be a registered charity. So while at the moment we're just an initiative, we are in the process of registering a charity. So I am looking for trustees to come on board, people that I can be accountable to as we get on this journey.
So how do you recruit those trustees?
We've got a document that we send out. We've got a process where yes, that's right, Peter. We work with Timsons as well. Timsons, Argos, M&S, BT, Virgin Media, Balfour Beatty, Persimmons. So there's all these organizations that are willing to give our guys a chance. So Timsons is one of them.
No, I think it's great. It is. I'm just thinking about the future. What the next steps for you? You want to have some trustee. You want to create a charity, but it's kind of answers to my question anyway.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, you were talking about not only the people from prison, also the people, the homeless people, the people in need coming to you asking for help.
Yeah, we just signpost them when they come to us with other issues apart from employment. We've got organizations that we can signpost them to, because one of the things that I found was if you want to have or keep, if you want to get into a job and keep your job, your housing should be in order, because what you don't want is, I know there's some people that can do it. Some people can hold the job down and they're homeless. I've got one guy who was referred to me last week who is in that position, and he's using his mum's address as a care-off address, which is fine. But for you to have any wraparound issues or issues that you're dealing with, apart from in addition to finding a job, it gets in the way. So the ideal client for us is someone who is in housing. They've come out of prison. They've been applying for jobs. They want to work, or they want to get into education or training, or they want to start their own business. There have been barriers of some sort of the other. One of those barriers can be homelessness. So we have to address the issue of homelessness first. And usually I find homelessness is not really about not having a home to go to. It's really about not having the support around you, not having anyone to go to. So they don't have that social capital, if you will.
I don't understand, Cecil. You get out. How much money do you get when you get out of prison? £20, £50, or what is the support that you get when you get out of prison?
What do you mean?
A person would be released tomorrow.
It depends. You see, so when someone gets into prison, they are assessed. When they're leaving prison, they are also assessed. Now, once they're assessed, they determine they've got some pathways that they have, and one of those pathways is homelessness, employment. Your health. They want to check where you need support. And the reason why some of them fall through the gaps and it appears that there's no support within the community when they come out is because they may not have been truthful, or they haven't said anything when the assessment takes place. Now, if they need housing, they're then referred to a housing agency before they come out. Very rarely, or actually most of the time, a lot of ex-offenders come out with no housing at all. And that's one of the reasons why they end up going back into prison, because they don't have a roof over their head. They can go back into prison. So it depends on the level of support that you're talking about, or what sort of support they need in their lives. Some of them are going back to families, but for those that don't have families, they need a new start, they need a fresh start. Some of them move into a different town and start afresh.
Yes, because I'm just referring to the statement that you had before. It's not just a physical house, it's also the people around you, something for you to make it a home for you.
That's
However,
right.
I was thinking that if a room is a good place to start with, and then if you have benefits, maybe £50 a week or whatever you get, so you have some money and you have a roof over your head.
Yes.
And then you could be prepared to go to people like you to get support, to get a job, and then to establish a life.
Yeah.
But
the mindset usually is, oh, I don't have a roof over my head. Why would I be thinking about a job right now? I need support. I need support for this. I need money for this. So they're depending on the state for their upkeep. They're depending on the state for their income. What we try to do is get them out of that mindset once they're settled, so that they don't depend on benefits, and they're depending entirely on themselves in terms of they can make their own income, however that might be.
Yes. So the 12 weeks, you help people until they are released. And then after that they have been released, they can still go back to you, and then you help them in the process to get jobs with CV and interviews.
Yes. So if they turn to us and say, yeah, I don't need your help anymore, that's when we say, okay, that's fine. But as long as they are part of our initiative, we will continue. Obviously, initially, when they start, there's call every week, every day, if it will. But as time goes on, the calls are less and less. And the people that we've introduced them to, the mentors, become part of their circle.
So go back to Peterborough. How many other people? How many people have you helped there?
Oh, in Peterborough alone, we've helped.
Yeah.
We've helped. Well, the best way to put it is, in Peterborough alone, I'm working with at least 35.
35.
Yes. 12 are in the process, or 12 have successfully started their own businesses. 14 are in work. And we're just getting into Reed in Cambridge now, where we're working with Reed in Cambridge, because Reed has also done the same thing where they're going into different cities. So we're now in Cambridge. We're working with individuals within Cambridge.
So 26 or 35 is quite good. In Cambridge, where there is no prison in Cambridge, right? How do you come into Cambridge?
So Reed have got an office in Cambridge.
Yeah.
And they invited us to come through.
Yes.
And they have people that come from prison from all over, either Norwich or Peterborough or Stockton, that are going back to families in Cambridge, or they've decided to resettle back into Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
So there is a group of people that we will work with in any city, really. It's just a case of having a base and having people that we can.
I think that's the kinds of questions that I have, and I am going to send you the details of this guy that I know from prison, that he is a trainer today. And if you could help him, it would be great.
Okay, yes, please, yeah.
But what other kind of organization you would like to be involved in your project?
I'm always open to new relationships and developing those, because when I attend a meeting with anyone, one of the things that's really important to me is to never attend with an agenda, because you never know what turns out, how the meeting turns out. So I'm open to relationships. I'm open to any organizations, as long as we're working for the clients. It's not about us. I mean, it's joint effort. It makes, if there's more people that can help and support, it makes a big difference. I only recently found out that there's a company up in the north that are doing exactly what we're doing. They've just been doing it longer than us, and we're in touch because we found each other on LinkedIn. They're called Tempest Nova. And they're doing really well up there. They received the award that we're going for last year at the Centre for Social Justice. So yeah.
Peter has a question for you.
If we encounter someone who is a repeat offender and they are still offending, they're probably not ready for our program. You'll find they're probably not ready at all, because what they need to be, a lot of what I hear is, Cecil, I can't do this anymore. I need to, I'm a dad now, or I've got kids that I need to look after. I can't keep going back into prison. I need something to keep me out of prison. I need something to do that'll keep me out of prison. They've either hit rock bottom, or something has happened, something that has changed their mindset, and they want to be different. They want to change. that's when we start addressing the issue of employment. I see a lot of guys that are referred to me, not because they wanted to, but they were made to do it. They were made to fill in the assessment form. The assessment was done and they didn't really want it. So they have to want it enough. And if they're repeat offenders, I usually say, they're not ready for our program.
You said that someone made the application for them. Who?
Some of the organizations that we work with, they look at our program and they think, oh yeah, you know what, this is a good program. We think you should be on this, especially prisons, because unfortunately, some of us are still into, they still tick boxes and say, yeah, we've done this, we've referred them, we've done ABC. So when they've been referred to us by a worker or an advisor, and against their, they've just said, yeah, okay, yeah, put me forward for that. It doesn't usually work. It has really to come from them. They have to want it enough. People that are hungry for it, for want of a better word.
Yeah, so you do the interview yourselves, and then you find out who really wants it or who really.
Yeah. That's why 12 weeks is enough for you to be able to say, to gauge. So even when I've got guys who came out of prison over 2 years ago, but I'm working with them now. We're in our 8th week, and some of them are starting to flag. I can see, I've said, why don't you do some volunteering? And they turn around and say, no, I don't want to do any volunteering. Straight away that, no, okay, fine. They're not really into work. They don't want to work. They're just coming to see me because it's a tick on their box to say, yeah, the job center, have you looked for jobs? Yes, I am working with someone who is looking for a job, or we're looking for a job. For them, that's what it's all about. They're not really interested in work, but we can identify that, and then we can put a stop to that early onset, before anyone wastes anybody's time.
So are you working with Job Center?
Yeah, we work with the job center as well. The job center sends us candidates, or the candidates. So part of our assessment is we ask them if they're working with any other agencies. So they might be working with Reed, they might be working with the job center, they might be working with the drug agency. We contact all those advisors and say, okay, so this is who we are, this is what we do. We just want to introduce ourselves so that we know we're singing from the same hymn sheet. This is the person that we're working with. We want him to, we all have a joint goal to get this person the best. So they may be working on other things. So when we get someone into work, I take advantage of Reed. Reed, they've got funding from Europe, and they're able to get our clients, because it's both our clients, you see, they're able to get them some safety shoes. They're able to get them, what they need for work. We've got some investors, that private investors that have given us, that have invested in us, in our clients. And if they want some interview clothes, we'll go out, get some interview clothes for them, and we can access this funding from this investor.
So how many are you at the moment?
At the moment, within Accelerate, it's just me and 2 other guys. And then we've got a team or network of all the other organizations. And then we've got the team of volunteers.
Yes.
Around the people that we work with.
Yes. So the volunteers, they are coaches.
Yes, they are coaches. They're trained. Their training takes 2 days. They're trained. I can train the coaches myself, because I'm trained to be a trainer on that program. So I can actually train them as well, which saves a lot on our part, because and then we DBS them, do a DBS check, and then presto, we link them up with individuals.
Yes, and then the individuals, they are the people from your program, the 36 people or 24 people or whoever you have.
Yeah.
So they are those coaches will follow those people to make sure that they are followed through the program, and then at the
Yeah,
same time,
so we introduced them.
yeah,
We like the relationship to be as natural and as organic as possible. It's not, we don't have a set of rules to say this, you know, this is what you need to do if they don't turn up. If they don't turn up for a meeting, it's fine. Obviously, okay, no, it's not fine, but there's got to be an element of trust. There's got to be, the relationship should develop on its own. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We put them in touch with someone else. But one of the things that we say is, if you're coming onto our program, we will put someone alongside you who will hold your hand, if you will, and be with you along your journey. If you don't want to speak to them, absolutely fine. Let us know. But you have to speak to someone. You have to have someone. You have to have someone attached to you, as it were.
yes. So those coaches will help them, and the meetings, are they outside the prison? Are they inside the prison? So the coaches will come into the prison.
They're outside. I've had a few, only a couple that I've taken individuals into the prison to introduce them to their potential mentee. Yeah.
Yes. So, and I don't understand. Let's just make it very clear, because I think that maybe someone would like to be your coach, and someone would like to volunteer to help you, to help the prisoners. The coaches, they will help ex-offenders, not prisoners.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you match them, and then your network of employers will help you to get job to those people. And the job training, who will take care of it if they need to get some skills to get into jobs?
So we get the services of the job center. There's a guy who is really keen. He's not an ex-offender, but he's had some barriers into employment, where he had issues with his health, and he couldn't work, but now he's able to work, and he wants to be a security guard. So we've accessed some training for him, and we're just waiting on a date locally for him to go on the training. But the money is there, the job center are there. What we did was, I approached the job center and I said, listen, we've managed to raise half of the money for him. Would you be able to pay up the other half? And said, yeah, by all means, we can do that. Which is a good partnership that way.
So thinking about you, what is the strengths that you have in your company to make this work for those ex-offenders?
I think what's really worked is my abilities to be able to network.
Yeah.
Being able to network. I'm a gifted networker. You know, when I can put two people, I can match people really well. Whether it's on a business level, whether it's, you know, yeah, I can identify where the need is, and I can say, oh, you need to speak to such and such. You need to speak to such and such.
And also the funding side, is it you, or is it one of your employees, or one of your colleagues who are doing it? It looks like that you are very good at raising funds for people.
Yes, I managed to get those skills when I worked with the homeless charity, because we did a lot of fundraising. But you know, it's who you know at the end of the day. You know, it's connections around you. I'm always looking to get connected. You know, once I share the story, once I share the opportunity, people are usually willing to be very, very upfront and say, yeah, you know, we want to work with you. What I didn't say at the beginning was 10 years ago, I myself was in a situation, one of the darkest periods of my life, and I ended up I made a silly decision. I ended up in front of a judge at Cambridge Crown Court with an embezzlement charge, then given a custodial sentence of 30 months. Within my sentence, when I was serving, I set up a peer support group at Peterborough prison, and I served 19 months. Towards the end of my sentence, I realized I was going to be homeless. That's how we started the homeless charity. And that individual who came to see me said to me, "Look, Cecil, I've got some inheritance that I've come to, and I would like you to come on board for us to start a homeless charity, and you become the first participant." More service user, and that's how we started. And the reason I left is because while we were there, I found, like I said, people were getting in and out of prison. So I'm an ex-offender myself. So when I sit in front of employees and say, "How do you know this works? How do you know this works?" That actually, someone took a gamble on me. Someone gave me an opportunity. I lost everything, completely everything. And I started afresh. I had to rebrand myself. I share this and I disclose this. When I do that, I still have to pick up jaws in the prison because they're like, "I can't believe it." So yeah, so you can't tell me what I don't know, because you sit when I'm saying what I'm saying, I know when you tell me what you're telling me, I know exactly what you're going through. So what I think that's an added advantage, because I'm quite passionate about it and I see how it can work. Because I've seen it working in action as me, the example, where I've come from a stage where I needed a job. And if I didn't have that job, I would have easily gone back. So I was in for an embezzlement charge. And I'll tell you that in the prison there is a pecking order. I went in there without any knowledge of crime. I came out with so many contacts that if I wanted to get into a life of crime or continue a life of crime, I could have done, which would have defeated the whole option. So I made a decision not to, and went out and started my own business. And I'm writing a book, so you can have. If we had more time, I would be able to unpack all of this, because it's quite a long testimony, if you will, long story. But every time I share it, it's quite inspirational, I get told. And I find it is a good release for me, because for me it's disclosure. And yeah, that's how we get the success that we're.
And I think it is a very good ending that you have done here. It is very exciting. I think that we can post it up, and a lot of people may come back, and maybe that they want to hear some more.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you very much for today, for joining. And you're right, your story is very inspiring.